Hello, and welcome to our learning session on troop travel for Girl Scouts of South Carolina Mountains to Midlands. My name is Mary Pedrick, and I'm the manager of our Volunteer Training Engagement Program.
Hi, I'm Lisa Brown. I'm a Community Development Manager for Mountains to Midlands over Lexington, Newberry, Saluda, and the Lexington-Richland 5 area.
Thank you so much. We are very excited that you are here to enhance your knowledge about troop travel. Let's get started. Our agenda will take us through a detailed look at travel progression, followed by some processes and procedures information, then some tips and reminders. We'll begin by looking at the Girl Scout travel progression overview. As you can see, the progression builds from small local field trips all the way up to independent travel. Each column contains a basic description of that level and a tip for keeping it girl-led. We're here to dig a little bit deeper though, so let's explore and make sure that there's a clear understanding of each level. Field trips and day trips provide an opportunity for girls to discover local sites and experiences in your troop or service unit area. These trips get everyone accustomed to walking, staying together, and listening. Here are some examples of field trips and day trips. Explore an exhibit at a local museum. See wildlife at the local zoo. Learn about a local historical location. Visit a local botanical garden. Learn new skills at a local archery range. Or tour a local firehouse or government facility. At times, levels 1 and 2 may get confusing or seem overlapping. To discern, a field trip is generally considered something in the troop's local neighborhood, whereas a day trip may require a more extended car or public transportation ride. For example, you may have a historical marker or botanical garden in your local trip neighborhood that you can walk to, but for some, those might be located in a central or downtown area of your city or in a neighboring town. Field trips and day trips are good for all levels, although a full day trip may be challenging for daisies who have not taken a short field trip. It is recommended that troops of all levels begin with a short field trip for girls and leaders to gain group travel experience before progressing. Lisa, do you have any more advice for first trips, potentially for daisies on their first day trip, or even for leaders who are taking a group out for the first time?
I would keep it easy, simple, especially for the daisies. You want to make sure that you have enough parents and volunteers there with you to make sure that you're able to keep them all, together and focused, but make it easy, but also make it something that they want to do. I think that's important to keep it girl-led, because if you take them to something that you're interested in and they're not, it will fall flat really fast.
That is fabulous advice and very true. We always want the girls to have their scouting experience be all about them. Great, thank you. A thought for younger girls, if you are taking daisies, that you might want to try to get some parents enlisted as chaperones just to aid in their comfort and their positive experience on that trip. 1 or 2 nights away can provide an opportunity for girls to learn their comfort or even discomfort level with traveling and being away from home. It can also allow leaders to learn how to manage groups in an overnight experience. Here are some examples of a trip that may provide an opportunity for 1 or 2 nights away. Camping or staying at a Girl Scout property like Camp Wayback. Visiting a state or national park like Paris Mountain. Staying in a hotel in a nearby city for sightseeing like visiting Charleston. Plan an overnight experience at an aquarium or a museum like Clemson's Pari for a space science overnight. Although overnights are approved for all levels, daisy trips should be kept to only 1 night away. Brownies can participate up to 2 nights. The exception is for day camp and resident camp experiences. Lisa, do you have any advice specifically for daisies on an overnight?
For daisies on an overnight, your best first trip may be backyard camping. That will give them a comfort level. I'm not a camper. It is not a secret. So like indoor plumbing is important to me. So, the girls, give them a taste of camping without just throwing them out into the wilderness and saying, good luck, here's a pot. But, keep it still comes back to keep it simple, especially with the younger girls. You may want them to bring their Girl Scout Build-A-Bear so that they have something that, is from home. And if they get scared or they get worried, they have something to remind them that they're not too far away from home. And for first time camping volunteers, pair up with someone that's been camping before. Do your backyard where if you forgot something, you can run in the house real quick and get it. Or use a service unit camp out as your first camping experience. So there's other leaders, other service unit personnel there to help you, feel comfortable and get acclimated to the camping experience.
Awesome. Yes, and thank you for bringing up camping. As well with camping, people may ask, where can I go camping? We do have our camp facilities that you can use. A backyard is a great first-time camping experience. However, we do like to make sure that we are trying not to be in personal residences just for liability insurance reasons. So if you can find a yard or an escape garden or something like that may be at a public facility, that might be a great option. Or even indoors at a gymnasium is sometimes a great first experience for a camping trip. It doesn't have to be outside. It doesn't have to be full of bugs. It doesn't have to be hot and sweaty. Please be sure that this is a little bit different from a normal overnight, that specific training is required to go camping, and insurance is probably required as well for your camping experience. Regional trips. Some level 4 regional trips may require more than 2 nights away from home, possibly up to 3 or 4. These are for juniors and older girls. Daisies and brownies may not attend these. An example might be a trip to Atlanta to visit Fernbank Steam Lab, have an overnight experience at the Atlanta Aquarium, and tour the world of Coca-Cola. Or perhaps an outdoors adventure weekend of hiking, whitewater rafting, and camping in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina. Okay, Lisa, do you have any additional advice for overnights, weekend trips, or regional trips?
I'm going to reiterate, making sure that it's girl-led. We want to make sure that the girls are, deciding where they'd like to go, the activities they'd like to do. And then make sure when you have your chaperone list that we're following safety activity checkpoint ratios. That means, for instance, for younger girls, for daisies, it would be 1, and I know this one off the top of my head, this one would be 1 to 6 girls. So 2 adults for the first 6 girls, and 1 adult for each additional 4 girls. So we want to make sure that we have those ratios in mind. If you have dads that would like to help you out with camping, they are more than welcome to come. However, please be aware that dads must have their own separate sleeping accommodations as well as their own restroom facilities. This does mean if mom, dad, and daughter go on the camping trip, dad cannot sleep with mom and daughter. He has to have his own tent in a different campsite. Any trip that lasts more than 3 days, you will need additional insurance to go. And if any parent who is not a member attends any of your trips, you will also need an additional insurance for them as well.
Great information. And just to remind on the safety activity checkpoints, overnights are addressed on page 12 of that document, and sleeping arrangements, including male chaperone sleeping arrangements, begin on page 53 for your reference. If your older girls have a great deal of experience with travel levels 1 through 4, you may begin exploring more advanced and extended travel options within the United States or even abroad. Cadets and older girls may travel anywhere in the country and even around the world on trips lasting a week and sometimes more. Keep in mind the following considerations. Following proper progression may take years of preparation. So if you have older girls, but they haven't completed levels 1, 2, and 3, they're not quite ready yet for levels 4, 5, 6. Keep the planning girl-led and focused on destinations that give the girls unique experiences that they may not have an opportunity to get elsewhere, like with school or with family. Paperwork and requirements get heftier the longer the trip is and the farther the trip takes the girls away from home. So be prepared for that and knowledgeable about those procedures. The World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts, or WAGs, has 5 world centers that offer leadership development experiences for girls in troops. This is a resource that you can utilize. And Hosteling International is a GSUSA partner offering lodging experiences for Girl Scouts. They might be worth investigating, particularly if you're traveling overseas. Here's the website for WAGs if you want to investigate those world centers for your international travel experiences. And our final level for girls, level 7, is independent travel. Cadets and older girls who already have national or international travel experience can venture into level 7 and travel independently through council-offered travel opportunities from GSUSA's destination program. Some examples for 2023 destination programs are the Ultimate Harry Potter Experience, which tours in Texas, Florida, and the United Kingdom. Japan, Land of the Rising Sun, that goes to Tokyo and Kyoto. And Cyber Academy, happening at the U.S. Space and Rocket Center. Girls in our council who are interested in independent travel should also explore the Susu Fund International Opportunity for Seniors and Ambassadors. This will help them to experience independent travel and keeps it girl-led by involving the girls in the planning, budgeting, money earning, and preparation for their trip outside of the country. Lisa, do you have anything that you can add or talk about for levels 5, 6, or 7 for our older girl travel experiences?
I think it's great to get the girls out of South Carolina. I've met many girls who have not gone out of the state, but some haven't even left their county. And so getting them the experiences within the nationally or overseas is a great thing for them to learn and to grow as an independent thinker, to experience things that they may never have thought they would have the opportunity to do. Girl Scouts is here to create a well-rounded, leader, and having those experiences will help them get there.
Excellent. And you can find information on Girl Scout destinations on girlscouts.org website. And you can find information on our Susu Fund opportunity on our website. So just to summarize it up for the travel progression, Daisy should stick to short trips that are within the troop community, and brownies can be taken on longer day trips and overnight trips. Juniors are welcome to attend extended overnight trips up to a week. Cadets, seniors, and ambassadors who have completed the previous levels of travel progression may plan national or even international travel exploration with their troop or independently. Now, we've talked about girls and their travel, but did you know there's a small group tours designed specifically for adult women involved with Girl Scouts? This can be girls who have bridged to adult volunteers, or adult members and supporters. As of February 2022, Girl Scouts of the USA and Club Adventures, which is AAA's small group adventure tour operator, have entered into a licensing agreement to co-brand small group tours designed specifically for Girl Scout adult members. This includes alumni and other supporters. They offer a wide variety of opportunities for travel destinations and adventures like cycling in Colombia, South America, or walking Western Australia's Kimberley. So be sure to check that out if you and your service unit co-volunteers or your troop leader co-volunteer want to try to plan a ladies getaway. All right, now we're moving on to the planning process, the nitty-gritty. Before your troop begins planning any travel experiences, it is good to get started by learning first what their current personal experience is and their comfort level with travel is. You'll want to assess this information on the checklist. You can get a good idea of these by having your girls complete a questionnaire. You can find one in the USA Travel Resource Guide, and it's going to ask questions like, do you like staying overnight at friends' houses? Or have you attended a Girl Scouts camp? How well do you keep track of your stuff? In that packet, there's also a questionnaire for parents and leaders to help you identify if the adults are ready for your travel experience as well. In preparation for your travel, you should always start by reviewing the safety activity checkpoints requirements. I know we've touched on that in previous discussions and slides, but here it is, the nitty-gritty of this. Trips and travel begin on page 195 in the PDF file. So first, let's look at some general guidelines that are required for basic day trips all the way up to international travel. Your general requirements are having at least 2 certified co-leaders, one that has CPR first aid minimum, that you have all of your permission slips, your health histories, and that your SUM and CDM know about the trip. Make sure that your girls have planned for the budget and for transportation, and that you have an emergency action plan in place and documented. And don't forget to look into insurance requirements for your trip. Your CDM can provide you guidance on any and all of this if you need help. Make sure that you know that not all parents and chaperones or even troop leaders are permitted to transport girls in vehicles. It's important to refer to page 20 to 22 of the Safety Activity Checkpoints for safe driving guidelines on transporting girls, and check with your CDM if you have questions. If you utilize the annual parent permission form, you do not need to have them fill out a separate permission form for every trip. But if you don't use the annual form, then you do need to make sure that you have a wet signed parent permission form for anything that's held outside of the regular meeting location. Additional insurance might be a need, depending on the activity, the venue, or if you have non-members in attendance. Please check with your CDM if you need help. Depending on the activity that they're participating in for their trip, the venue itself might need to submit a certificate of liability insurance. Some examples of these may be a skating rink, an amusement park, or a horseback riding facility. It is important to note that some activities and safety activity checkpoints might have a comment that says permission might not be required, but be sure to ask your CDM because many times they do, or it depends on the venue or the service provider. Remember that wherever you go, you should always have your health history forms and your permission forms in hand with you while on your trip. There are some circumstances that require council approval specifically, and you'll need to fill out the trip, travel, or camping approval request form a minimum of 4 weeks prior to the trip. Considerations include travel distance, if overnight stay is involved, how long the trip is going to last, your means of transportation, and again, safety activity checkpoint guidelines. For overnights, please refer to the Safety Activity Checkpoints, page 53, for details on sleeping arrangements, and that includes information on male volunteers in the group, parents and guardians on the trip, and girls sharing beds. If you are planning an international travel, or you are using a travel or tour company that involves a contract over $500, you will need to seek special permission. Please reach out to your CDM for guidance on that process. And don't forget that the adult to girl ratios for travel are different from troop meeting ratios. Make sure that you have the appropriate number of qualified adults to chaperone who are background checked members. Parents can chaperone. They can absolutely do that if they meet the qualifications, if they are background check members. We do push that parents do not bring other children with them. They don't have siblings along, because then that distracts their attention that should be dedicated to supervising the troop. If you invite non-member adults on the trip, be sure that you have applied for additional insurance and that you check safety activity checkpoints, particularly if it's an overnight. Lisa, do you have anything to add?
Yes. Make sure that you always have your health history forms with you when you're with the girls, just in case something happens. And another form that may need to be filled out is the sensitive issues / high risk activity form. This is for activities like horseback riding or roller skating, or sometimes even the amusement park where you need a certificate of liability. We want to make sure that we are aware that your trip is going to do something that is deemed high risk in safety activity checkpoints. So please, 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 when you're planning your trips, look to safety activity checkpoints first. That will help guide you on what forms you need to fill out.
Great, thank you. All right, we want to wrap up this video with 10 tips and reminders. So first, We've touched on it, but with everything with Girl Scouting, make sure to keep it girl-led. Let the girls choose where they want to go and what activities they want to participate in. Always, always, always review safety activity checkpoints for every activity that may be a part of your trip. So even if you're going to Charleston and go to a museum, if you think you might stop by some sort of park or zoo or go roller skating, make sure that those are included in your planning and you're referencing safety activity checkpoints for each individual activity. Use approved travel partners, particularly if you're going out of town on trips or out of the country on trips. Make certain that it's an approved partner like Education First Tours, Hostling International, or WAGS. Plan ahead far in advance and make sure that you allow yourself a realistic time frame. The timeline for travel can take an entire Girl Scouting year or even more to plan, raise funds, and execute. Be sure to consider transportation and the guidelines for that, and that's on page 20 in Safety Activity Checkpoints. Hold a parent meeting early. Use this as an opportunity to review rules and guidelines together or even develop them together. It's a good idea to have parents sign an agreement to these guidelines at that time, and also be sure to utilize that opportunity to get your parent permission form. Lay out a detailed pricing structure. What's included in the trip? What's not included in the trip? And what are families going to be responsible for? Allow in that timeline time for girls and families to raise that additional money if it's needed. Make sure that all fundraising efforts are approved and that your paperwork is completed. Your CDM can help with information about this and help you with the extra paperwork, such as the donation authorization form. Lisa, do you have any suggestions for non-program, non-cookies, non-fall products that girls could consider for fundraising options?
Yep, sure. Some things that I've seen troops do in the past are hold a bake sale or have a car wash. Another good one is babysitting. Older girls put together a parents' night out, but please make sure those girls that do that have earned their babysitting badge, because that is a requirement before they can watch children. So there's a lot of things you can do. Some of the things that you cannot do are raise money for someone else. So for instance, you can't do Sonic Night for Troop 123. You cannot raise money for someone else. You cannot do, an Avon party or a Mary Kay party. You want to make sure that we are keeping it strictly to Girl Scouts.
Excellent. And just a quick reminder that all funds that are raised by any girl in the troop go to the troop. So girls are not raising funds for their own personal trip and to pay for their funding for it. Any money that's done during a troop activity goes into a pot that's distributed equally amongst all members of the troop for these travel plans. And another side note on this one is make sure that everybody has passports and or visas if your trip is going out of the country. Don't forget to incorporate this process in your timeline as well, because it can take months. Get Girl Scout insurance. Ask your SUM or your CDM for help filling out those forms if you need it to pay for your insurance. Make a packing list for everyone, especially for girls. Make sure it includes personal items like a camera or a book, money for incidentals, meals, and souvenirs, and potentially a travel money belt or a travel wallet for theft prevention. Be sure that you research your location, particularly if you're traveling outside of the country, and ask questions to your travel provider to get insights on these types of needs. Be ready for last-minute surprises. We all know about best laid plans, so be prepared for reality to deviate a little bit and roll with the punches. And lastly, take lots of pictures, make memories, and have fun. That's what it's all about, and this is the most important part. Do all of your due diligence work up front to make sure that you can enjoy the fruits of your labor during the trip. Lisa, you have any last minute tips or hints?
Nope, I love number 10, have fun. You want to have fun, you want your girls to have fun, and you want to share in those memories with them.
Absolutely. All right, that concludes our video presentation. If you have any additional questions, we are here to help. We want to help you get out and travel with your troop. So please reach out to your service unit manager or your community development manager if you need any additional support. You can also always contact our council customer care team, and they'll get you with the appropriate staff member to assist you. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day.
Bye.